Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm going to be taking a look at another awesome action figure from Iron-Blooded Orphans, and this of course is the Gundam Vidar. And not just any Gundam Vidar, this is the Metal Robot Damashii version. If you haven't seen my Metal Robot Damashii Barbatos Lupus Rex review just yet, well check that out first because I will be skipping over some parts in this review because they are similar to that one. And if you're looking for one of these of your own, this was a premium Bandai exclusive action figure, which means it could be hard to come by. So this video would not have been possible without those absolutely awesome people over at Bai. Using Bai, you can go through so many Japanese websites like Amazon, Yahoo Shopping, Rakuten, that's where I got this. So no matter what you're looking for, you will find it on there. So link in the description, as well as how I find things and save some money on Bai. So jumping right on into it, and there is what the Metal Robot Spirits Gundam Vidar looks like just out of the box. That is it, nothing done, it's just standing there, and this looks phenomenal. If there was an award for the most badass looking Gundam of all time, I would be nominating this Gundam right here. It's dark, brooding, evil, pointy, and covered in crazy geometry. This thing is awesome cool. And the Metal Robot Damashii figure has really brought everything to the next level. There's multiple colors, we've got die-cast parts, this silhouette and overall design has never looked better, and all the tiny detailing all over the place makes this an absolute joy to look at. This thing is mind-blowingly good. So before I mention anything about this, let's start off with the comparisons. There is the high grade, there is the 1/100 full mechanics, and I will mention both of these are fantastic kits. I enjoyed both of them a lot. The high grade gives me absolute life, it's such an awesome kit. The 1/100 out of the box could be a little bit better, but with a teeny bit of effort, it is fantastic. Still hoping for that master grade though. 100% hoping, fingers crossed, for a master grade. Of course, once again, the Robot Damashii right here is non-scale, whereas this is 1/44th scale, this is 1/100, and it doesn't really match with any Gunpla, really. With the Lupus Rex, I do feel like you could have went with a bigger Lupus Rex compared to a high grade just to give it that big bestial feeling, but this will feel a little bit out of scale, I feel. Also, visually with this version, I don't feel it's as advanced as the Barbatos Lupus Rex was in comparison to its high grade, or it's 1/100, so I have a feeling you could get something quite similar to this, with some basic customizing techniques like paint, a little bit of panel line scribing, pointing some parts a little bit by filing, decals, and maybe adding some metal aftermarket thrusters. However, if you're not into that sort of thing, not really into customizing too much, then this is probably the one to go for if you want something that is visually astounding. So anyway, there is that full 360-degree spin of the Metal Robot Damashii Gundam Vidar. This looks fantastic, but I can't help feel it doesn't look quite as fantastic as the Barbatos Lupus Rex. In general, this is in matte paint, which works with its dark, foreboding look. It also makes the die-cast parts really pop off, the metallic parts on the verniers. All of the piping on this is in red, which is color accurate and beautiful. The decaling is all pretty much seamless, and what can I say? This is one premium, fantastic looking Gundam Vidar right here. So now moving on to the accessories, and here's Vidar with absolutely everything that he comes with, and he comes with quite a bit. Once again, in here we've got a full stand. This is exactly the same as the one we saw with Barbie. This can be moved into various different positions and angles. It has locking mechanisms, and it's pretty much perfect. Nothing really to say here besides it does what it needs to do. We also have some Gundam Vidar style iconography on here as well, which is a very nice little touch. Next up, taking a look at the weapons, and first up we've got that rifle. On the whole, this looks very nice. It's in multiple colors, 2 shades of silver, we've got some nice decaling and detailing in red, but the one thing that completely kills me is the massive nub mark right on the bottom of that. There's no getting by that, that is super obvious. Once again, this may just be on the one that I have right here, but still, this should not get past quality control on a premium figure. When the rifle is not in use, it can be attached onto that big old side skirt using that slot connection. Attaching the rifle into the hands is simple because it's just a kind of rubbery little hand that you just push it into like this. Swapping hands is the same as with Barbie, it just pops off like so. Ball joint attachment. Next up then, here we've got Vidar's iconic rapier with 5 extra blades, but there's something about this that's so, well, short seeming. This figure is bigger than the high grade, there's the rapier from the high grade, it's just so, well, underwhelming. This slides into the hand pretty simple, just make sure all of those fingers are holding onto it, and seriously, what is that? It is so short. It's so short! Hold on, let me consult the anime for a second. Seriously, what is that? It's tiny, it's way too short, that's not okay. But besides that, we do have a cool functioning mechanism with that. We've got 5 spare blades that have been kept in those Attack on Titan side holster thingamabobbers. When one blade is ejected, Vidar can just reach down, plug in a new one. We've got a slide back mechanism which releases the blade, and then it can just pull that out like so, ready to impale another victim. And of course, no Edgelord Gundam is complete without those dual pistols. This is one of my biggest mecha guilty pleasures, and I love it every time that I see it. These look very nice, these are pretty simple, they're small, in gunmetal, and we've got a little bit of a red decal on both of those. When these are not in use, and in good old Vidar fashion, these can be stored on the reverse side of the front skirting armor. This is very simple, you can pop them off, you don't even need to pop them off. Stick the pistol onto the back, then reattach them. But like I said, you do not need to pop them off, just flip them up, it's easy to do. However, I did just notice that the pistols did not dodge that bad quality control bullet here, and there's a big old, very obvious nub right there. Next up then, we've got that Vidar crackling sexual energy that comes from his eyes. This isn't as dynamic as what we would have seen with Gundam Barbatos Lupus Rex, but it still looks so cool. We've got 3 different variants, these are all attached to V-fins, so they're super easy to detach and reattach. And what we have is one crackling one coming from the left eye, that's his left eye, one crackling one coming from the right eye, again that is his right eye, and then we've got this streak coming from the right eye. These look so cool. Take the red one, slap them onto the Mel Robot Damashii Gundam Barbatos Lupus Rex, pose these together, and these look phenomenal. Again, I would say the Barbatos looks quite a bit better, but this still is beautiful in its own way. So finally moving on to that build and the articulation, and first off I'll say the build is particularly good. Because this is lighter than the Barbatos Lupus Rex, that means there is no problem with the waist. This doesn't fall through at all or get loose or anything like that. However, I do feel the ankles do have a little bit of an issue with holding it up sometimes, and it tends to smooth criminal every now and then on ya. But on the whole, pretty damn good. We've got a double jointed neck, head up, head down, gone bald! In the armpit here, the arms can move up and down, forward and back here, but because that is a die-cast joint, sometimes it can be a little hard to get that to start moving. There's a lot more going on in here. There's a ball joint right here. Then the arm has its own articulation. Once again, a very stiff die-cast joint here, so be very careful with that. As for what we get, there is the arm all the way up, all the way down. We have full rotation in there. Shoulder armor can move independently a little bit. Full 360 upper arm spin. Just like Barbie, the bend at the elbow is a single point bend. It's not so bad. It gets you pretty much anything that you'd want. A wrist that rocks flexion, rotation, and a ball joint up top. So you can get pretty much whatever you want out of that. Beautiful. The same super complex waist joint that we would have seen on the Barbatos Lupus Rex. So that means you get one hell of an ab crunch, one hell of a lean to the back. The side-to-side crunches are off the charts, and the rotation here makes the pistons actually move. Once again, this is beautiful. Expert craftsmanship right here. We've got a 2-point mechanism on this right here. We've got 2 points of rotation, one actually attached to the waist, one is attached to the side skirt, so this is quite movable, droppable, does a lot. This of course slides back like so, slides back into position. We've got a dropping mechanism inside the waist. This can be very, oh my god, extremely tough to drop. Oh, that felt horrible. Beware of that. It's a great joint, it's super tight, and feels like you may just break something. Anyway, now that we've dropped that leg, there is the kick all the way up to the front, so that is very nice. Ready to kick Barbie right in the face. Kicking it out to the back because he's a narrow butt flap. That means this does not get blocked. Try and slide that up. Not so bad the second time. And as for the splits, no problem whatsoever. And speaking of the butt flap, this does not do anything. We do have a hole in here for using with the action base if you want them attached via the waist. We have a 1-2-point bend at the knee. That is quite nice. Not too bad. The ankle here has me a bit confused. We do have the flexion and extension here that can rotate side to side like this, but this looks like it has that Iron-Blooded Orphans side to side pivot ankle TM, but this does not move as far as I can see. I keep trying to move it side to side. to get some kind of side-to-side pivot out of this, but it will not move like with Barbie. If I flip this blade out of the way, which is made of metal, which makes me very happy, it does look like there's something in there. That section there, that little bit right there pointing up, that seems to be blocking it. I guess it's a functional thing, but as far as I can see, there is no side-to-side pivot on these feet. So that does mean poses with the legs spread quite wide does look a little bit awkward, because the feet are always somewhat cocked off the ground. It's not the worst, but it could look a little bit better. Again, not so bad. Once again, flip out blades. These are made of metal, which feels fantastic. There's the top one. There is the back one. Catch the light in a way that paint never could. And this toe can also drop down, just like so. These binders around back, these are on ball joints, so they do exactly what you would expect from ball joints, so very nice. Shoulder flaps can flap out. Vidar right here is rocking some dramatic articulation fitting of a dramatic Gundam. However, there is two parts that I really don't like about this. That, of course, is the lack of a pivot at the ankles, and the fact that it cannot look up when its head is dropped down. So this isn't quite as good as the Metal Robot Damashii Barbatos Lupus Rex, but it is still absolutely fantastic besides those two factors. And it looks badass at that. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and usually when it comes to figures, I don't give them a tier rating because I don't do figure reviews all that often, so I don't have much to actually compare this to. Once again, is this worth it? In the end, that is up to yourself. It looks fantastic, it feels fantastic, everything is awesome besides the lack of ankle articulation and that piddly little rapier. But besides that, this thing looks fantastic and will treat you well and will look great up on your shelf. However, I will mention this is not the same level of absolute awesome Gundam as the Metal Robot Damashii Barbatos Lupus Rex. So if you were tossing up between the two of them, I would say go for the Lupus Rex, especially because that figure is so much better than its model kit counterparts. Whereas this right here, I feel you could detail up the model kits to look something like this quite easily. Not so the same with Barbatos Lupus Rex. But if you've got the cash, you've got the means to get it, you want it, I say 100% go for it. I have no regrets, and I don't think you will either. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more figure and model kit reviews, and I'll see you next time. Once again, I cannot finish this video right here without thanking each and every one of you guys. Whether you just watch my videos, like them, or support the channel on the channel memberships and over on Patreon. Like Craig Jury, Greg Humphrey, Kaiser721, Tyler Sanders, Caleb Engelhardt, Sean T, and the ambassador for asymmetric cats.